This podcast is brought to you by Collector Legion. For all your single and gaming needs, there is no substitute. And if you're lucky enough to find yourself in LA with time to play, check them out for the best in-person gaming experience this side of the Pro Tour. Welcome to Split Second Sorcerers. I'm your host with the most basic lands in his cube deck, Isaac Sears. And today on the pod, we have the second place finisher at Pro Tour Kyoto. He's the man that lost the most ELO in a single tournament and is the winner of GP Detroit. It's
the one, the only
Smudster, or as you otherwise may know them, Sam Pardee.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. Something that maybe could be going better is Magic. If you could change one thing about Magic, bannings, unbannings, structure, the color of the sleeves they produce, what would it be?
I think it would be to have a more robust standard format with fewer products overall. Like right now, I think there's a few too many products and it gets confusing what's going into standard. And it seems like their attention is also divided from, these Lord of the Rings sets, standard sets. It'd be nice to have things more unified. That would be my change, I think.
Well, things that are nice are decks that we've played, perhaps our favorite. Sam, what's your favorite deck you've ever played?
So it's got to be Birthing Pod. I played that deck a ton. I really, really loved playing it. I thought it was really fun. A close second would be Hardened Scales, but yeah, Birthing Pod in good old Modern, really, really fun deck.
Well, that might tie into the next question. What's your favorite constructed format? Years, type, paint us a picture.
So overall, I think I would have to say Modern. Like, there have been many interesting eras of Modern to me, and it does feel like distinct layers of Modern. Like there was the Birthing Pod era, then there was the like Mox Opal era, then there was the Modern Horizons era, which are all kind of like their own distinct thing. I think that Mox Opal era was my favorite. I think there were a lot of really fun decks around then, a lot of different things you could do, and not too dominated by individual cards the way I feel like the Modern Horizons era has been.
If Magic stopped existing, please no, what would you do to fill the void?
Probably just play some other card games or video games. Like I work on games. It's what I spend most of my time doing and thinking about. And Magic is a great game. It has the most robust OP system for me. It's the game I've been playing the longest in my life. But there are enough other great games out there. I would find some other fun games to play.
What's the most game-changing Magic lesson you've learned over the years?
I think I would say it's about over sideboarding. I once spent about a month playing. There used to be this thing called daily events on Magic Online, and I played just about every standard one.
Yeah.
For a month with Hardened Scales. Back when that was a standard deck, and I eventually got good at it. For a while I think I was pretty bad at it, and the biggest sort of shift in my mindset there was how much to sideboard, because you're this critical mass artifact deck.
Yeah.
And so I think sort of learning how to improve your deck in sideboarding while not also ruining it is sort of the big lesson there.
Don't take the spice out of the cake. What's your favorite card to try and wheel in a limited format?
So I think my favorite card of all time to wheel in limited was Quicksilver Geyser in New Phyrexia Mirrodin Besieged Scars draft. I really loved that draft format. I haven't played in a long time. I don't know how well it would hold up by modern day standards, but Quicksilver Geyser, it's blue 4 for an instant that bounces up to 2 creatures. And I just thought that card was really fun to play with. People sort of underrated it. Bounce 1 of yours, 1 of mine was a common thing you did. Bounce 2 of yours. There, all the modes were in play and useful. And yeah, it was an underrated card that I thought was really powerful.
What's the first Magic card you remember?
So the first Magic card I remember, I started Magic in probably 1994, maybe 1995. I was 5 or 6 at the time, and my dad played, and I would go through his cards and be like, "Hey, can I have this one?" And the first one I can remember doing that with was White Knight, because like it's it's just like a badass knight on a horse with a sword above his head, like just
It's got first strike.
Well, I didn't do that. I couldn't read. But it's just like a very evocative art piece, looks cool, very clean. Also, like the white, like I'm pretty sure it was like a revised one. The like white border, the cost is like cool looking, like the two double white symbol, like just everything about that. The aesthetics of that card is immaculate to me.
Hell yeah. Well, as you've been playing for quite a while, you might get to have a kind of over-the-top answer to this one. What's your most memorable moment of BM you've ever experienced?
All right, so it's Pro Tour Born of the Gods. I'm playing Birthing Pod against newly minted Pro Tour champion Jeremy Dezani, who is playing like a Jeskai control sort of deal.
Yeah.
We were playing like a pretty close game 3. We're both low on resources. He's beating me down with a Celestial Colonnade. I'm beating him down with a Kitchen Finks. He's like slightly winning the race, but it's close. Any good card drawn on either side is going to be a big game. I draw Ranger of Eos, which fetches at the time nothing that good. Deathrite Shaman was banned. I got 2 Birds of Paradise. Blocks a Celestial Colonnade for 2 turns. He got so mad, he started swearing at me in French. I know a little French. I knew the swear words. At the end of the match, he throws his deck against the like little wall thingy that they have set up at the Pro Tour. He got, I believe, an unsporting conduct. I think if he had been speaking English, he would have been disqualified. But yeah, that takes the cake, I would say.
Yeah. Well, on the kind of flip reverse of that, what's the biggest or most embarrassing punt you've ever committed?
So this one sticks with me as well. Grand Prix Chicago, I want to say 2012, but don't quote me on that. The one that Jacob Wilson won with Jund with Lingering Souls. I'm playing against Affinity, and it's a close game 3 yet again, and I come up with a line where basically I'm going to pot away my Kitchen Finks with a Melira in play and a Viscera Seer in play. If they kill the Melira in response, then I can go get something else, and and it's fine. And I just didn't realize if I potted away a different creature, I can just go get Murderous Redcap. Then I have the combo twice over, and there's really nothing they can do. So I like went and got a copy of Harmonic Sliver instead, and it was pretty good. Killed 2 of their artifacts, and I went on to lose that game like pretty close from the the Ancient Grudge my pod or something, and then went on to win. If I had just sacked the Harmonic Sliver, I just get Murderous Redcap, and I have either infinite life or infinite damage, and the game's just over. So that was that one, and that was, I think it was like round 12 or 13. It was the first Grand Prix I'd ever really done well at. I was like 12-1. If I win that match, I can draw into top 8. I end up losing that one, losing the next one, and then like I made top 64 or something. But it was pretty heartbreaking at the time.
Let's see. Can't lose. Destroy 2 artifacts.
I mean, destroy 2 artifacts against Affinity, pretty good.
What one sentence lesson could you tell you when he understood how to speak and what words were to improve their game the best?
I would say find a group of friends that you like to play with and play a lot with them. That's really it.
Sam Pardee 2024. What do you do for a living or primary source of income these days?
So I work on games, not Magic. I work on other card games, mostly digital games. I also still play on the Pro Tour and stuff like that, but I wouldn't say that's my primary source of income. And yeah, so I right now I'm working on a game that's not out yet, but I think it's a lot of fun. Previously, I was working on Storybook Brawl, Eternal, Elder Scrolls Legends, Dude Imperium, bunch of other games.
Oh man, you still have some of that stuff on my shoulder. What's the worst card you've ever registered for a constructed tournament?
Okay, it's so there's sort of 2 answers, because you used to have to play block constructed, and you could get some really putrid cards in your deck in Block Constructed. Like, I played with my very first Pro Tour, I played mono green Infect in Scars of Mirrodin Block, and I had like Putrefax, which is the Infect Ball Lightning. That card is really terrible. I had basically every horrible Infect creature you could think of. So I think in absolute terms, that's the worst. I also played Bantu at a standard Pro Tour, and I think relative to the format, that card is really bad.
What would you say is the most difficult match you've ever won?
That is a great question. I think I can't think of one off the top of my head. Yeah, I'll just pass on that one. Sorry.
No, you're all good. Perhaps you can regale us with your favorite tourney venue.
This one is close. I think it is the Pro Tour Valencia site. I've only been there
You
once.
Like swimming at the Pro Tour?
It was awesome. It was such a cool. It's like in this big park, and it's really cool. It wasn't the flooded one.
Oh.
It wasn't the rainy one. It was like 10 years after that. It was just this awesome site. I've seen it show up in like tennis commercials somehow. I don't really understand why. Like Roger Federer was hanging out there, I think advertising like a jet company or something. But anyway, it's just like an awesome site that has like a natural history museum at it and like a big park. And that one's really cool. Also, shout out, much love to the San Diego Convention Center. That's my favorite one that I've been to a lot of times, I would say.
Oh yeah, banger. What was the first Magic card you remember hating?
I used to really hate Goblin Guide. It felt like the mono red deck was like not good unless it drew Goblin Guide, and then it was really good, and I really didn't like that. I would say I've since come around a little bit on my thinking there. Like I now kind of have some love and respect for the Goblin Guide. I think it's a pretty fun card, pretty good design. But at the time I was like, oh, this is just the worst thing.
Do you have a favorite non-Magic the Gathering game story from a Magic the Gathering trip?
So I don't know if this counts. You'll have to tell me. Where was the last Spanish Pro Tour? Gosh.
Barcelona.
In the Barcelona Convention Center. This wasn't at the last Pro Tour, but the previous Barcelona there, which was still in that center. Me and Siggy are both, just hanging out between rounds at a tournament. I don't remember what we were doing. We were probably playing some like dumb Magic, not really Magic, but like Magic variant sort of game.
Yeah.
And a bird just poops on me inside the convention center. I'm indoors. I'm sitting inside, and it's just like, what just happened? We're looking around. It was like just the unluckiest thing you could possibly imagine, or at least that I could imagine, basically. Yeah, just out of nowhere, I'm sitting inside. That's not supposed to happen inside.
Now that's a bad beat. All right. Well, Mom says the Dino Nuggies are done, so we're just going to have to wrap up this pod with just this one last question. Skydiving or deep sea diving?
I'm not gonna like either. I think I'm not gonna. It's not gonna be my favorite thing. I think I would go deep sea, but yeah, I think I'm pretty
better
comfortable
to get eaten
swimming.
by a shark than 7-Eleven. So
Yeah.
All right. As we come to a close here, do you have any upcoming tournaments the fans can sweat you in, or perhaps a place where the good people can find you for your content?
I don't really make a lot of content these days. I'm pretty far removed from that game, but yeah, you can. I'll be playing at the upcoming RC in Denver because I live here, so that's great. Really looking forward to that. And then Pro Tour Chicago is like 2 weeks after that, and I'll be there as well.
Woohoo! Well, that does it for this episode. Thanks to my guests Sam Pardee, Richard Garfield, and you, the viewer. If y'all have any guests or questions you'd like to see asked on this program, feel free to let me know in the comments or just hit me up on Twitter at @LikeIkes. And remember, folks, it's handshake, sign the slip, then throw your O3 deck in the trash, not the other way around.